Servus Männer, it's Red Pill Germany again. It is finally springtime here in Germany. The light green leaves are coming out and the trees still have blossoms. When the wind blows, these blossoms or these petals are falling to the ground. Very beautiful, especially after long month of wet, damp cold here. And a little bit of snow also. Yeah, it really feels nice to be out in the forest in the sunshine on a day such as this. If you want to, you can join me on a little walk in the forest today while I talk about a topic that I haven't talked about a lot recently, about traditionalism or fake traditionalism maybe, or pretend traditionalism. Yeah. Um, I used to talk about this more in the past, but now I want to take the well, I don't want to call it opportunity, but there is a recent case, you might have guessed it. A certain Stephen Crowder is going through a divorce right now, it seems. And to many young men, probably, Stephen Crowder has been probably, yeah, some kind of a role model, some kind of an idol when it comes to masculinity, traditionalism, family. I mean, has a beautiful wife, high income, and muscles, and yeah, all these things, right? Masculine guy, good beard, tall guy, and so on. And of course, he's a traditionalist. Now, don't get me wrong. I I I'm not an expert on this guy. I didn't watch all of his shows, but this is the image that he projects to the world. That yeah, he is the masculine traditionalist, and he has a family, and this is something probably to aspire to, or to yeah, that young men would feel that they want to be a little bit like Stephen. Yeah, and you know, I really don't know what really has happened. I don't want to talk about that. You know that there was some video that probably his still wife put out that was showing a very specific scene that didn't make him look that great, to say the least. I don't know if that is giving a just or a representative image of their marriage. I don't know. But it really sucks for the children right now, for this family, and it just reminds us that it can be over at any point. And when it comes to traditionalism, then many people talk about, or many men talk about, what they think, what they believe, what they want. Yeah? They want the nuclear family like in the 50s, and they want to be the sole breadwinner, and they want to provide for the wife and the children and all these things. And that's great. And there are a lot of women, especially right now, with the economy the way that it is, and with yeah, maybe the millennial women have noticed now that having a career is actually not that great, and it's not that much fun to get up at 5 in the morning and come back at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m., what have you, and your life just passes you by, and that is not ideal. Might be fun when you're still young and, you know, new situations, new challenges every day. But yeah, when you're 35, 40 and it just drags on, they notice it's not that nice. And then some of them, for the time being at least, they will say yes, because that's their exit ticket. But then, as some people might say, as their nature is, they want an exit ticket from the exit ticket then, yeah? And that's the problem. So, in that sense, men, I think, should not only ask themselves what they believe, what they want. And the question is if this 1950s nuclear family is even ideal. I would argue that it is not, because even back then it didn't work. Yeah? The Beatles even made a song about it, I think, with the with the yeah, medicine or pharmaceutical consumption of these suburban homemakers. Yeah? So it wasn't ideal ever. But what I'm trying to say is young men, especially, they should consider not just what they want, but what the children, and especially in today's legal environment, what the women want. And I don't mean in the sense of how can I serve my woman better, but they should be very suspicious of the intentions and of the, how should I say that, the sincerity of the woman's plan or the intentions of the women and how serious they actually are about being a homemaker or just working part-time or raising the kids until they're at least 18. Yeah, these things you should worry about. Not just are you prepared to do all these things, but is your partner too? And how can you trust them? And this is a big issue, especially in today's environment where there is really no way of checking for that. It's absolutely gambling. And anyone who tells you that it's not gambling is probably lying to you, or he doesn't know any better. Yeah? That's a big problem, I think. And this is why you will never hear me say, at least not seriously, maybe I said that sarcastically, I'm not really sure, but I will never shame young men for not manning up or something like that. I mean, yeah, I married a woman, but that was my decision. I believe in that, but I would never suggest it to another man. It kind of sucks because it is, I believe, ideal for children. Yeah? If you want to raise kids, being married and stable two-parent household, it's of course ideal, but there is just no way to mitigate the risk that comes with it, especially for men. And it doesn't matter how rich you are, how tall you are, how buff you are, and how smart and charming you are. At some point, you will be not that hot anymore. And I mean that in many different senses, in many different ways. Yeah? There is no way around that. And it is playing Russian roulette in a sense. And of course, it depends on the laws in your state, in your country. But that can change too. And you know, it's not like you sign a contract that is bound then to the old rules. No. It can change, and there is nothing you can do about it. So, I think actually 80 years ago was also not so ideal. Maybe 1,000 years ago, that would be best. Yeah, if we would live like people lived 1,000 years ago. I think this nuclear family is, it's hyped by conservatives, but I think it's not ideal at all. I think some multi-generational arrangement or a tribal arrangement even with aunts, uncles and cousins and whatnot in close proximity, that is actually the best. The question is how do you accomplish this in today's work environment where people go to university and then they go hundreds of miles away to wherever they get the highest salary and they move a couple of times. And if everyone in the family does that, then they're all scattered around. Sometimes even globally these days, not even staying in the same country. So how do you have anything that is larger than a nuclear family? Some people can't even manage to hold together a nuclear family. Yeah, that is pretty much what I have to say. I don't really want to comment any further on the concrete or on the case at hand with Steven Crowder, because there are channels that do that much better. And there is a lot of things we don't know yet, like what was edited out of this video and what really happened. And we really don't know who is the psychopath here. And both of them are, maybe, I don't know. So this is something, this is not the point of my talk today. But just, people should be more critical of the people who advertise or who promote this kind of traditionalism and ask themselves, is it realistic? Is it obtainable? Is it stable? Is it sustainable? And who does it really involve? Yeah? It's not just the guy who has to bring something to the table and man up and be this dependable rock of a man. Sure, that helps, but you can be as strong as you want if the other party involved has other plans, or which is normally the case, the plans change 5 times a day, then yeah, there is really nothing you can do. And this is the fundamental problem in industrialized or modern Western societies, and not just Western. You see that in South Korea and Japan. You see it everywhere. It starts in India now. Birth rates go down, even in developing countries now, for similar reasons, I think. How do you raise kids optimally when you have to deal with parameters that are absolutely not under your control? Yeah? It's not like you can make a contract, like when you buy a product or when you buy a service and you have a contract, and the contract clearly states what the responsibilities of both parties are. Nah, it doesn't work that way, and we all know that, I hope. Yeah, I don't want to read the word prenup in the comments, because we all know that is a fairy tale. Yeah, it is a problem, and anybody, I mean, I'm willing to listen if someone says he has a solution or he has some ideas, but most of the time that's nonsense. There is no solution, in my opinion, or in my experience at least. I haven't come across anything that would suggest to be something even remotely close to a solution to that problem. Yeah, maybe we need collapse in the West. Maybe we need societal collapse. Our civilization must collapse in order for that to change again. And then birth rates stabilizing, or even going beyond the simple stability case, or the reproduction. That is, what is it, 2.3, 2.1 children per woman, something like that. Yeah, so that we can grow again. Yeah, maybe we need collapse before that happens. Anyway, let me know what you have to say about that in the comments down below. Servus, Kameradin.